So, I've been watching quite a bit of Charlie Kirk, um, here and there. Not maybe not quite a bit, but good amount. And um, I've seen a lot of good videos and shorts. I've seen some shorts that don't make him look bad, but you know, people have their flaws. I mean, it's really not much you can say. Like, I guess I should frame it this way. There's not much you can really say about, you know, his stances and I guess what I want to say is he's consistent. He was consistent. Um, and he's a good guy. Was a good guy. Um, Feels like a huge shame. Like he's literally like really trying. He was really trying um, to get through to people. He was trying to not be a dick. There's this one video with this black girl where they're talking about just black people, and at this point he kind of misspeaks um, a little bit, and then she kind of like is writing on it a little bit, and it's like you can't judge people for stuff like that, you know. And you can, but you shouldn't just ride it to the hills or anything like that. You know, people can be wrong. People should be allowed to be a little wrong. I mean, how else are we gonna, is anyone supposed to do anything? And she's like saying something like along the lines, be professional in all manners. And it's like, okay, uh, you know, you don't look too good. She's screaming, she's getting mad. She's like, you know, kind of, how would you say, just putting the flag in this thing just because she feels like she has a little gotcha moment. It's not really her having a gotcha, but it's more like him just misspeaking a little bit. And you could be perfect all you want. You know, we are here to have good ideas and try to have better ideas, not just feeling like everyone's got to be perfect all the time. Um, Obviously, I'm not perfect. Obviously, she wasn't perfect. And it may not be obvious, but Charlie wasn't perfect either. Nobody's perfect, right? Nobody. Even, and I've said this before, even the smartest person ever, just because you can't see their mistakes or you just don't realize it, doesn't mean that they're not making mistakes here and there. You know, people are well trained, people are well practiced to to put a flag down on that, or to write it to the hills, or to just completely feel like, it's a gotcha moment, is pretty ridiculous. um, you deserve to get shot. He didn't. There's no reason. Just because somebody was going through a really hard time, maybe he couldn't win a debate. I don't know that story that deep. But all I know is this person is probably going through a really hard time. I mean, you know, say what you want about a person like that. But anybody who's going through a tough time probably has got a little bit of evil in them. And nobody wants that. But even worse, you know, to let that out into the world in such a completely heinous way is not what we're supposed to be about. It's not what we're supposed to do. You're supposed to appreciate things whether or not you agree with them. If you can't think about, oh, this thing that I don't like, I can't handle it, I can't agree with it, but you can't appreciate it, then there's something wrong, right? There's things that I don't agree with. There's things that I hate just because I have love and hate. I don't know what to say. I'm a person. But just because I think certain ways, certain times in my life, doesn't mean, I can't appreciate things before I get, to a place where I can appreciate it. And if you can't, well, then you gotta, try to understand. you know, a lot of appreciation can come from being able to understand. And if you don't do anything, if you don't put any effort, if you don't put any thought into it, I don't know what anybody can say to you. I don't know what anybody could say to anybody if you don't want to put in the effort to understand. It's just unfortunate, sad. Sometimes it's disgusting. But he was a good person. You know, he has ideas and he wants to share them. And, there are things in life that people can't swallow those pills. And he's just not even shoving anything down anybody's throat exactly, but if they're in a debate, if they're in a conversation with him, well then when does he get to say the things that he wants to say? He's there, you're there. That's just kind of how it works. You don't want it to work that way? Well, then I feel bad. Just in general. That makes me feel bad. And he was consistent. And his ideas were pretty strong. Other people can't see it that way. But most of those people's ideas are weak themselves. They they can't defend him. They can't hold him up. And you know what? That's fine and fun and whatever, and it does good in its own right. But he was there to change people's minds with love, and if you don't agree with him, well, then that's a good power to have, I guess. To be able to not agree, but it should be in your own thinking. It shouldn't be what everybody thinks together or whatever, some kind of ideas that aren't really well put together, aren't really well thought, only like probably talked about in a room full of people you already feel comfortable with and all share the same kind of ideas. And I don't know, they like share their power with everyone who they deem, as long as they listen to them and agree. That's dog water. Those are dog water ideas. I don't know what to say. It's trash. Trash ideas. And trash ideas come from the trash and they end up in the trash. Trash ideas. And I'll say this, I grew up pretty lonely, not having much support. But what I did have was my own wild imagination and a lot of challenges and listening to other people and being inspired to not think like a moron or something. Some kind of freedom. There's some kind of freedom in that. Having your terrible, childish, imaginary ideas challenged. Um, I would have loved to keep all my ideas that, bring my wildest imagination out, whatever great feeling that comes with that. I would have loved to have kept that. But I know that I want to do better all the time. And you can't keep your trash ideas forever if you want that. And sure, it bums you out every day. You don't get these good euphoric feelings, whatever. You get these strong, sometimes hard to swallow, and not so good feelings. But you do better. And sometimes I need a break or whatever. Everyone needs a break. Everyone does. But it's obvious why having good feelings all the time isn't very good. I don't have people that support me. I don't have people who help me that much in that way. And even if I did, I wouldn't want to listen to them. Not anymore. I already understand things. When people start doing like stuff that gives them good feelings, but I'm just looking like, this just leading to ruin, then there's just not much room for good feelings. Now is there? I know Charlie Kirk, cared a lot about those kids he was talking to. I mean, like I said, I've seen some videos, you know, and even though he's there to firmly show and tell his beliefs, he's not there to hurt anybody. He's not there to rag on anybody. And I saw this one kid trying to ask him a bunch of questions. He's like, I'm not gonna entertain any fallacies, because it's like, well, if he knows, he knows, If that person gets hurt by that, doesn't feel listened to, well, how many times is he gonna do it? How many times is he gonna listen to somebody where it's a bunch of nonsense? And at the same time, he's talking not to just one person. This is like a situation where he's talking to a bunch of people at once. So it's one person here, then one person there, then another person's coming in and saying something, and then he comes in with things where just like, I'm tired of hearing that or something, or stuff like that. And it's like, why is he gonna, you don't know, but if you did know, you don't have to know. Just why continue to entertain things that you don't want to entertain, I guess, like. But regardless of all that, he's really chill. He was really, really chill. He wanted to connect and not just debate, but he liked to have conversations. Wait, look at that. Conversations. I mean, I don't know what that means. Conversations, like, because what people say conversations, oh, they get like these like ideas, like these tropes or whatever, or sorry, maybe that's not the right word. These it's like a term that could be skewed into something different, and then people get angry about it. But it's just a normal word, and people want to turn the normal word into something else. But he's literally just having like, these are all like buzzwords: dialogue, conversation. He's just chilling, He's just chilling, trying to talk to people without any fear and using love, you know. And it's hard for them to accept sometimes. And that is literally a very good thing, is to, he had a shirt on his website, speak truth with love. And, I haven't been able to do that with people in a long time. Nobody wants to hear it for some reason, for no reason, for terrible reasons, whatever reasons. Um, yeah, it's stupid. So dumb. You get mad all you want. Nobody has the right to punish anybody with violence or anything like that. You could, I'm not here to talk about any stuff like that, but I am here to talk about, it's just messed up, I guess, is all I'm trying to say. And it's been messed up for like far too long. And it's not just me hearing this stuff. I literally lived through it. in the worst ways possible, I feel like, in ways I never even imagined. I I lived through hell. I can only imagine, what other people go through. Sometimes I think I went through hell. Then I see other people, what they go through. But I guess I understand. It's just terrible. It's been far too long. People have just been accepting it. It's crazy. And you think that at least most people, you'd think people would want to like make sure this is not happening or something. Besides, the the people who are out there. You think more people would be into this, but I don't know. Whatever, it's a problem. Thank you.